in the Chalk Talk we're going to do on Nate Hobbs. You guys want to do your homework? Go watch this minute 30 clip. It's going to show all the plays we're going to break down, and you can chime in when we do Chalk Talk on it tomorrow. So I said, let's take a detailed look at cornerback Nate Hobbs. And again, if you want to join our Patreon community, this is just one of the perks. It's the best way to support what we do here. For $3, you get access to everything like these articles and breakdowns we do on there. Patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or just hop over there. It's really, you can probably search Packer Fan Total Access on Patreon and find it as well. But here we go, man. Here's a breakdown of Green Bay Packers cornerback Nate Hobbs' strengths and weaknesses based on available information from his performance and scouting reports. All right, so strengths, physicality, and run defense. Hobbs is a physical downhill player who excels in run support with an 81.6 run defense grade from Pro Football Focus and 81 defensive stops, ranking 6th and 7th amongst cornerbacks, respectively. It's probably over the course of his career, I would imagine. Versatility, capable of playing both slot and boundary cornerback, having primarily played slot for the Raiders, but showing competence outside in 2022. This flexibility allows the Packers to adjust alignments based on matchups. I'm going to give you guys a little spoiler alert. Last year, it was slot heavy for sure. So I see him most likely playing in the slot and then kicking outside when we go to our base. That would be my guess. Tackling, recorded 281 career tackles, 200 solo over 51 games, averaging 5.45 tackles per game. That's second on the Raiders from 21 through 24. He led the Raiders secondary with 14 tackles for a loss during that span as well. So the big thing that's popping here, Tim, with the strengths is the run defense, the tackling, right? The versatility, the physicality. Rookie impact. He earned PFF All-Rookie honors in 2021, starting 9 of 16 games and posting 74 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 passes defended, demonstrating early NFL readiness. And it's crucial to key in on that, because when you're trying to evaluate a young player, Tim, what you're looking to do is you're looking to go in there and go, okay, we got to look at him through the lens of what does he do well as opposed to what does he not do. You want to put your player in a position to do what he does well, right? And if you're so overly focused on, well, he doesn't do this good, he doesn't do that good. Bill Belichick 101, I've talked about it time and time again. They were in a scouting meeting, and they were going through and scouting the players for the draft and scouting their own roster. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. They said Belichick threw his pen down and said, I could care less about what he can't do. Tell me what he can do. What can he contribute to the team? So when you go to a young player, you're looking at, okay, what is it he can do well? You grade him at his best, right? You're looking at what does he do well. There's some people that get caught up in watching tape, and they're just keying on the negative. Oh, look, he struggled here, he struggled there, he struggled there, he struggled there. Coaches aren't looking at that stuff as much. They're looking at what can they bring to the table, right? Now, does it mean that they don't critique them? They grade every snap, absolutely. But the people that focus in on doing low light, what we call low light instead of highlight film, and breaking the tape down like that, yeah, to me, you're just wasting your time. But again, where did he peak at? His rookie year, he looked phenomenal, Tim. I guarantee you they went back and watched that rookie tape, and they said, that's the dude we got to pull back out of him, right? And we'll talk about the contract here in a minute. We get ready to wrap this up. I just want to point that out. His rookie year, PFF All-Rookie honors. That was a solid campaign there. Competitive mentality. Known for a fearless underdog mindset, Hobbs plays with heart and resilience, exemplified by returning to a game with a broken hand in 2022 to support his teammates who got that dog in him. Zone coverage recognition. Shows good instincts and activity in spot drop zone coverages with quick recognition to break up passes in front of him. That was what was on the tape the most that we're going to break down on Chalk Talk tomorrow. Tim, those are the strengths. I'll get your thoughts here, man. What do you think about the strengths before we dive into the weaknesses in this scouting report? You're muted, brother. I know you're trying to help us out over there. So I appreciate you, man. You're working your tail off over there, dude.
The best thing that I've taken away from this is the last thing that's mentioned here is the zone coverage recognition, good instincts and activity in spot drop zone. I mean, that's kind of what Hafley is asking our corners to do, right? You're playing a little spot drop, you're playing zone sometimes, you're playing off ball coverage. Every once in a while you're pressing up, we're getting man looks, right? But the fact that he brings that to the table going into year 5 is awesome. And then competitive mentality, fearless underdog mindset. I mean, that sounds like every other corner that we have right now. That sounds like Keyshawn Nixon. Right. That sounds like Carrington Valentine. So like, I think he's going to fit in just fine, honestly. And I mean, the injury thing, hey, I'm not, we're going to get to that, oh, he's injury prone. It's like, well, we saw what, injury prone cornerback play looks like the last couple of years with my boy, Mr. Alexander. I don't think Nate Hobbs is going to be that much of a risk when it comes down to it. I think he's really coming into his own here in year 5, and playing in Halfley's scheme with these corners is going to be fun to watch. Whether he's in the slot or on the boundary, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. H.E. Solder says if we can get slightly above average cornerback play in 2025, we should be very good. That's the thing too. Like, it amazes me how there's a portion of the fan base that they talked absolute crap about Jair, and he was never on the field. He's never on the field. Then the second we let him go, it's what are we going to do without Jair? It's like, we didn't have him. What are you talking about?
Watch tape from last season. You'll see.
Yeah. So the only difference from our secondary really is you added Nate Hobbs. That's what you did. You added Nate Hobbs. So what it's going to come down to is Nate Hobbs taking over at slot for Bull, or is he going to play outside and take over for Keyshawn, right? Or are we going to push Carrington Valentine to the bench and have him rotate in? I think all those things are on the table, Tim. I hope Carrington's out on the field. I want to know after this year, yep, that dude, we need to re-sign him. That's the real guy. But if he's on the bench and we can't get another good look at how well he may or may not perform, that's going to bother me a little bit. So hopefully I'm with you, Soder. If we can get slightly above average cornerback play in 2025, we should be very good. I completely agree. 2-0 for this. This hit the nail on the head for me too. He says, I trust our scouts. Whatever they see in Hobbs, I'm in. When they signed him, 2-0 for this, and I looked at the money, and the money's not crazy. And when you dive into the contract, you can get out of it after a couple of years. But when they signed him, that told me how high they were on it, right? And again, when you sign a free agent, most of the time what these GMs do is they immediately go back to their draft grades. Like, we've got a database that we're collecting now. We're 2-3 years in with spreadsheets of our drafts. So guess what's going to happen? When we sign a free agent next year, if it's somebody who was in the draft within the last 2 or 3 years and we got them in our database, we're going to go back. Here's the draft grade we had on them, right? We did that with Kamal Hadden when they signed him, if you'll remember. So that's what the teams do. They immediately go back. All right, what's the draft grade? Then they go and watch the tape of the player. All right, what have they done in the NFL? What did they ask him to do? Was he put in a position to do what he does well? You break it down that way. So you're going to grade the NFL tape. You got your scouting grade from the NFL draft, and that's where you're going to make an educated decision on whether you're going to sign him. And like what 2-0 for this says, I trust our scouts. Also trust Goody and Russ Ball for the money they gave him. That says a lot. It's just like Aaron Banks, Tim. People look at Aaron Banks, oh, he wasn't that good. Why was he not good? Well, the PFF grades. Okay, got you. Why was he not good? Other than the PFF grades, right? You're literally just looking at a number on a spreadsheet. That's all you're doing, yep. Right? Why was he not good? Did he allow a lot of sacks? No, he only allowed 1 sack. Okay, so that checks the box. Can he get to the second level in duo? Can he be somewhat mobile to get out there and do the things we want to do in the running game? Yeah, it's all over the tape. You can see him getting 20 yards down the field and throwing a lead block, right? So that checks the box. Why are we so caught up in the PFF grade in which there's this mysterious human being that told us he's bad at football, right?
Right.
And that's why it's important to watch the tape, look at the advanced metrics, look at the EPA allowed and things like that, look at the sacks allowed, look at the PFF grade, and then come up with a kind of a collective, here's what we think he is, right? So
yep.
Coach Lynn in the chat says that may be the steal in the next 2 years for Hobbs. Again, yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. And again, I think here's the thing we got to look at, right? Is Hobbs better than Valentine? Based off his rookie tape, absolutely, right?
He's a little younger too, right? That doesn't hurt.
Right. Here recently, I'd say Carrington Valentine played better last year, but you're comparing kind of apples to oranges with him playing outside and Hobbs playing in the slot. So you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. Is Hobbs better than Keyshawn Nixon? I feel comfortable saying he is. I do, right? Maybe not like crazy better, but he's better, right? Is he better, obviously, than anybody outside of that on down the depth chart? Absolutely. So it's not like we're going in there going, hey, this is the number one corner. They didn't pay him like a number one corner. They really, what they paid him like, Tim, was a number two corner is what they paid him like. Like, hey, this is going to be your second best corner, on your roster. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to weaknesses real quick. We'll rapid fire through these. I noticed there's looks like there might be, let's see, there's 5 weaknesses, and there were 6 strengths. So that's a good sign. Injury history. Hobbs has struggled with durability, missed the 17 games over 4 seasons, including 6 in 2022 with broken hand and 8 in 23 through 24 with ankle injuries. His ankle issues are particularly concerning for recurrence. I'll say this too, with the injury history, they broke it down. He played significantly more games than Jair in the last 4 years since he's been in the league. So
we just need a couple extra rolls of spat. He'll be all right. Just wrap them ankles up.
Absolutely. Coverage consistency, allowed 9 touchdown passes with a 102.1 passer rating against over his career, with some struggles in man coverage, particularly against quicker receivers. When you go back to the strengths, Tim, what did it talk about? One of his strengths, zone coverage recognition.
Yep. And
now it's listed a weakness as man coverage. Good thing we don't play a lot of man coverage, right?
Yep.
Kind of fits the scheme and what your eyes on the quarterback type player. Missed tackles, has a 15.7% missed tackle rate, 50 career missed tackles, which can be a liability in open field situations. So, it depends on what you look at with the numbers, right? You can look at the way he tackles, and you'll see it on the tape tomorrow when we break that down, the way he plays with physicality in the run game. You can look at it and go, that's the strength of his game. But then you look at the missed tackle rate. First of all, where did that missed tackle percentage come from? What website? What plays? It's a very blanket statement. I'm not saying it's inaccurate, but that's something that
I love the caveat too, which can be a liability in open field situations. Yeah, well, if you look at the scheme he's about to play in, we just talked about guys rallying to the ball carrier. We don't put our corners in too many situations where they got to be by themselves. If you can wrap up and get contact, you're going to have somebody there backing you up pretty quickly. So, not overly concerned.
Limited ball production, only 3 interceptions and 19 passes defended in 51 games, indicating he's not a high takeaway generator despite solid coverage snaps, 31 catches for 280 yards allowed in 2024. And we'll get into the passer rating when targeted last year as well. Adjustment to outside role. While versatile, Hobbs has primarily played slot except in 2022, and transitioning to a full-time outside cornerback role could expose weaknesses. Based off the tape I've watched, and the tape that we're going to break down tomorrow is last year's tape. We could go back to the rookie year and just droll over it. But, guys, that was 3 years ago. I want to know, what have you done here recently type thing. To me, he looks like a slot corner. Now, I know he's not going to say that. He's already said, I'll play safety, I'll play outside, I'll play wherever they want me to play, right? That's that attitude that we talk about. But I think he's best suited in the slot, me personally. So going on to the PFF grade. So last year he ended up finishing with a 61.4 defensive PFF grade. By week here, you'll notice he missed time after week 9. He missed until week 15 where he came back for 15 and 17. PFF grades by week there, 76, 65, 56, 56, 61, 44, 79, 57, 67, 55, 55. Now, when you notice where he played right cornerback week 1, and then he played in the slot for the next, 6 or 7 games, played strong safety for a couple of weeks. You got some versatility there, not that we need it. Then he was back in the slot and then back at strong safety. So when you key in, if we're going to play him at the slot, his right cornerback grade there in week 1 was 76. That's pretty solid on the outside, right? The only game where he played outside. And then you had the 79.9, his second highest graded game was against the LA. I'm not sure if it was the Chargers or the Rams. It usually has a letter there for. Imagine it's the Rams because they got LAC at the top. Yeah. So against the Rams, he was covering the slot, which is pretty good receiving core there. 79.9 was his grade. So his coverage grade in that game was an 83.4. When you look at the tackle grade, again, the second part of that scouting report, Tim said his missed tackle rate. Look at his tackle grade. 78, 72, 56, 30, 30, 33, back up to 82, 80, back down to 28, 26, and then back up to 77. So you want to see a little more consistency there, but you're seeing a ceiling of 82, but a floor at around 26.
Yep.
So,
I'll take it, man.
Yeah. And then going on to his season grades, again, when he came in the league, 79.1 his rookie year, played 837 snaps. So it's not a small sample size there.
Yep.
In 2022, he drops down to a 60.9. 2023, he jumps back up to a 69.0. Last year, he fell back to a 61.4. So what you're probably going to get here, if you were to average those out over the course of the 4 years, you're probably looking at about a 65 grade. Probably looking at a player that's going to grade out about 65, with a ceiling of 79 and a floor of 60.9. His run defense grade his first 3 years, too, Tim, were solid, man. 78, 75, 78. Last year it dipped to a 62. Tackle grade been in the 50s, the 40s, and the 30s pretty much his entire career. So now this is kind of hard to read here. I don't even know if I can see it, to be honest with you. Let me kill my cam so y'all don't get freaked out with me up in here in the camera. Let's see if I can read off his numbers here, okay? So play percentage last year, it's showing, I think, 79%. And the thing I wanted to key in on the far right column there, if you guys can see it, if not, I'll just read it to you. He had the third best passer rating when targeted amongst the Ps. There was only 12 snaps for the guy who led, so that's why I'm going to say third. But he finished with a 71.9 passer rating when targeted. If I remember correctly, that would give him the second best passer rating when targeted on our team based off of the 2024 PFF grades. Or not the PFF grades, but the 2024 stats, Tim. So basically, Carrington Valentine had the best passer rating when targeted. Then it was Nate Hobbs. Then it was Keyshawn Nixon. Then it was Javon Bullard. So that passer rating when targeted, pretty solid there. That's the thing that sticks out to me the most there, man.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's where you want those numbers, right?
Yep.
Like, we'll take it. And I can you scroll up just a little bit? There was something else that caught my attention.
Yeah.
You talked about him playing a little strong safety.
Yeah.
The numbers aren't horrible. I mean, the grades could be better, but it seems like he tackled better when he was playing safety.
It does look like that, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense if you're being asked to play a lot of man coverage too.
True.
Right?
True. But then again, we hear that he struggles with man coverage. So it's like maybe this guy is just the true definition of a versatile secondary player. You can play him strong safety, you can play him in the slot, you can play him on the boundary. You know, he'll roll up his sleeves and he's willing to do whatever. That's an added bonus to me. And then one other thing, can you go up to the weaknesses again there?
The weaknesses?
Yeah, right here. Limited ball production. Only 3 interceptions, 19 passes defended in 51 games, indicating he's not a high takeaway generator despite solid coverage snaps. Meaning, what do we always say when it comes to corners? If they're not calling your number, if you don't hear his name, it's probably because he's playing good ball. You know, maybe he's not getting a lot of takeaways because that quarterback's looking over there and that receiver is covered and there's nowhere to go with the football. I'll take that. I that's one of those intangibles that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? How many times that you weren't targeted because you're blanket covering your man. So I think it's important to kind of take those kind of stats with a grain of salt.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, moving along. He did have an interception last year as well. So moving along to the contract here, I just want to hit this real briefly to kind of give you guys an idea. Let me see if I can get it where y'all can see it a little bit better. Excuse me. So in year one, the cap hit is only $5.9 million. Next year, it jumps to $13 million. But notice where the potential out is, guys. Right there, potential out 2026. So essentially, they can get out of that contract after 1 year and be okay with that. Now, I would rather them at least commit to 2 years with Nate Hobbs. And the reason being is notice the cap hit. The cap hit in 2026 is $13 million. The dead cap is $12 million. So you're only freeing up, about $1 million, a little less than $1 million if you cut bait after 1 year, right? So I'd rather have him on the roster, not at that cap number. You could restructure and try to do a little cash over cap and free up some money there. But notice the roster bonus, right? The roster bonus is $6.2 million for that year. So again, if you go down 2026 right here, it gives details. 2026 roster bonus $6.25 million on the third league day of 2026. So if he's not on the roster, then that 6.2 he does not get paid. That makes sense. So when you get to the 2027 season, Tim, this is where you're looking at. When I said, usually you sign a 4-year deal, it's a 3-year deal. In this case, a 4-year deal is a 2-year deal. And you're seeing that more often. Like Packers kind of did that with Josh Jacobs as well. When they signed him to his 4-year deal, we talked about it immediately. Okay, it's just going to be really a 3-year deal. If it don't pan out, you can get out after 3 years. You look at the contract, go, really, you can get out after 2. So I know it's showing the potential out as 2026, but the spot that makes the most sense for me, man, is 2027. The reason being his cap hit is 14 million, but the dead cap is 8 million. So you're going to be able to free up $6 million if you move on from him in 2027. Again, I hope we're not having to have that conversation, Tim. I hope he pans out and we're like, hey, we're bringing him back. But Goody kind of built the floor there, right?
Yeah.
Raised the basement up just a touch, knowing that Jair's probably going to be gone. And I kind of like how they did that. And then
maybe it's a new sign of new trends too with GMs with the cap getting bigger every year. We talk about this, right? So you're going to start to see these deals structured a little bit differently as we go forward.
Yep, definitely. All right, so that's your Nate Hobbs breakdown. Again, you can find that over in our Patreon group, and go watch that tape right there at the top, guys. Right, and then when we get back together tomorrow night, we will do a Chalk Talk segment for that tape right there. And again, that's at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. So, Tim, that's pretty much all I got, man. I wanted to break down the Wyatt tape. I was started to do it last night, but I was like, man, I want to wait on Tim. I want to wait on the guys, see if they can get in here, because I know y'all like to watch the tape as well. So, anything you want to add to that conversation between Devontae Wyatt's Chalk Talk or Hobbs' little breakdown there?
No, I'm glad we did it, man. Thanks for waiting. And then we'll do Nate Hobbs Chalk Talk tomorrow, right?
That's the plan. Yeah, we'll do Nate Hobbs Chalk Talk tomorrow. We got a Josh Jacobs Chalk Talk heat up. That's a lot of fun, man. That's a lot of fun. No touchdowns in that reel. We removed all the touchdowns. He just had the explosive plays. So runs of 10 yards or more. Man, it was a lot of fun to break that down. So we'll get into that. I'll put another Chalk Talk together tomorrow. If you guys would in the Patreon group, do me a favor. It could be in the general chat or wherever. Just put Chalk Talk or Chalk Talk requests. Okay. And I obviously we can't get to all of them, but if there's a name that pops up multiple times, we'll queue up the next Chalk Talk to watch some of the tape on whichever player y'all would like to see. So we'll do that. All right. That's it. We're going to get out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If y'all would, hit subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate you making us a part of your evening. Everybody who's in the house right now, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. I hate to ask, but it really, really, really does help the channel. It immediately boosts the algorithm and helps other people find this. I couldn't tell you how many times I got messages going, dude, how long you been doing this? I'm like, yeah, we've been doing it about 3 years. Like, I had no idea this existed. Man, I don't study the algae. You know what I mean? I can't crack the algae because I'm too busy breaking down tape and stuff. But Too Old for This says Daniel Whelan Chalk Talk. Tim, I would actually be okay with that.
Dude, I'd be down for that. Let's watch a few 60-yard punts, right? No big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And him flying down the field, laying somebody out too. Gotta love that.
Oh yeah. Greg Rice says a short show on my birthday eve. Sad face. Sorry, Greg, man. You know, I know it's your birthday, and I hope you have an awesome, awesome birthday. But I'm trying to protect my marriage over here, man. She's like, "This is the slow time of the year, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why are you doing a show every day?"
Because we're a fan every day, right?
Yeah, I can't get away from it, man. I love it. I just love getting in here talking ball with everybody. It's a blast.
Yes,
Holmes MD1 says Orzik Chalk Talk. There you go.
Sit your butt outside.
I can't do the long snapper Chalk Talk. Can't do it. All right. And then, of course, Sofa King Cool. Everybody changing their name now. I can't keep up. Who did this used to be? I remember the profile pic.
Yeah, the pic looks familiar.
Unbelievable. Anyway, he says mock draft. No mock draft. Sofa King Cool. You're going to get us canceled over here. So. All right, we're out, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day. Everybody listening on the pod, thank y'all so much for supporting what we do here, man. Y'all, the downloads, the downloads, and just the unique views and everything, or listens that it gives us stats on.